decisions cast a shadow. Generational turnaround, we rise to follow. For the young, the purpose denied. We bring truth, proof, no longer to hide. Generational turnaround, we're on the scene. Interviewing the wrong lead, convicted so keen that God knows, making choices astray. Preventing them from walking a dangerous way. The numbers of the youth, staggering it seems. Their belief in any means, even extreme. But we call upon God as our first reaction. Offering an alternative of divine attractions. She'll disappear, hoping where they aspire. To detour them to show a path is higher. A profitable outcome, pleasing to God's sight. Benefiting the 99%, shining a godly light. Generational turnaround, open doors wide for more people to thrive. No one left behind, seeking truth, unraveling the why. One wrong decision to turn around, we defy. Generational turnaround, a podcast of truth, bringing undeniable proof. In a world where decisions cast a shadow, generational turnaround, we rise to follow. For the young, the purpose denied. We bring truth, proof, no longer to hide. Generational turnaround, we're on the scene. Interviewing the wrong lead, convicted so keen that God knows, making choices astray. Preventing them from walking a dangerous way. The numbers of the youth, staggering it seems. Their belief in any means, even extreme. But we call upon God as our first reaction. Offering an alternative of divine attractions. She'll disappear, hoping where they aspire. To detour them to show a path is higher. A profitable outcome, pleasing to God's sight. Benefiting the 99%, shining a godly light. Generational turnaround, open doors wide for more people to thrive. No one left behind, seeking truth, unraveling the why. One wrong decision to turn around, we defy.
Hello, 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 everybody. This is Julie Ambrose James, and we come seeking truth and bringing proof, and I'm bringing it through the guests that I invite to be here to talk to you all. Today we have a teacher, an author, a keynote speaker for the GT Summit, and that's September the 6th and the 7th on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and to be more specific, Gulfport, Mississippi. Now, let me tell you a little bit about him. Rickey Lewis is a multi-talented individual from Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Growing up, he discovered his passion for both athletics and art. Currently residing in Pass Christian, Mississippi, Rickey is committed to sharing the knowledge and teaching principles of success to students. He aims to expand his influence and his public speaking engagements. With his captivating storytelling style, Rickey inspires and educates others on personal growth and achieving success. That's right. That's my guest for the day. That's the keynote speaker of generational turnaround, as we put it shortly, the GT Summit. So I'm going to bring Rickey up, and I want y'all to hold on. Wait a minute. All right. Y'all know how I am. All right. Hey, Rickey.
Hello. How you doing, Judy, and the rest of the audience, people out there watching?
Oh, yes, Rickey, it is a pleasure and an honor to have you on the Generational Turnaround podcast tonight. And I can't wait for us to get started because we all know generational turnaround is not necessarily saying that any generation was wrong or anything was wrong with it, but we're going to take whatever that's good, that was good, from baby boomers to now. We got Alpha, and we are going to talk about it. We're gonna take some time out, and we're gonna talk to someone like my teacher, Rickey Lewis, and we're going to ask him what he feels about when he first heard the term generational turnaround. Rick, what did you think when you first heard that term?
Well, it it kind of plays into what we've probably been hearing for years and years now. A lot of people have an idea of the next generation doing better than the previous. And to a certain degree, we do, but we still stay, for the most part, kind of in the same tracks. We kind of stay in the same lines, the same lanes as the previous generations. And I don't think we've progressed enough um, from generation to generation. A lot of us, a lot of our community is still behind the country, behind the world, and it's time to do something about that. It's time to create a real turnaround to where we're going in the right direction and we're on par with the successful people of the world.
Oh, thank you, Ricky. You know, I was on your page today and there's some, I had to make some notes, Ricky, because it was intriguing and it was spot on. Where we put the blame, we are. When I shift the blame on myself, you are in control. Rick,
Yes. Well, there's a lot of things that happen in our life. And when we don't take responsibility, there's nothing we can do to change it. Now, somebody might be the reason why you didn't uh, have this particular resource, or you weren't able to go here or there. There are some things that happen in our life that's factual, that's real, that stops us. But when we say, oh, it was her fault, it was my mother's fault, it was my daddy's fault, it was, my boss's fault, they didn't give me a chance, I didn't have this opportunity because of this or that, we're shifting the blame to somebody else or the responsibility to somebody else. But what we have to do is put the responsibility on ourselves. Because when you take on the responsibility, that means you can do something about it. You can make a change. You can let your effort rise above whatever excuse it is that you formulated in your head. But when you say it is Judy's fault that I'm not succeeding, only Judy can change that to make you succeed. So I had a turnaround some years ago where I had to stop saying, well, my father wasn't around, or my mother didn't teach me this, or I was poor. I grew up in the wrong area, the wrong environment, the wrong neighborhoods. I didn't have the things that this person over here had. I wasn't afforded the opportunity that some people are. Like, I had to stop all of that, which are excuses. And some of them, yeah, they're valid. Some people may be listening and saying, well, it's true. This really happened to me. This is how my situation was. Yes, I understand that. But if you want to change something, if you want to do something different, if you want to go above that, if you want to rise above that, you're going to have to say, hey, it wasn't my fault, but it's my responsibility. And by saying it's my responsibility, that means you have the power to do something about it. You have the power to change. So now I take responsibility for everything that goes on in my life because it's my life. I'm the only person who can live it, me. And that's where I'm at. Like, responsibility, that's everything.
and you're the only one that's going to prosper. You're the only one who's going to whatever you're going to do, and if you're going to do something for someone else, you can't do anything for someone else if you still back there.
Right, right. It's dragging you down. You
Yeah.
can't go forward carrying that baggage. You can't go forward with all this stuff on your shoulders. It's too much. It's too heavy. It's too much of a burden. So as hard as it may be for many people, because I know some people go through some real struggles. They got some real pain, some real strife. Man, they've been through some real trauma in their life. But some kind of way, they have to find out how to let that go. Now, you may not be able to do that by yourself. You may need to tap into some other people, some other resources. But if you don't let it go, you're never going to move forward. And I can't tell you how to let it go, and I can't say just let it go. Stop
Mhm.
worrying about it, stop talking about it, stop thinking about it, and just go forward, because Some traumas are so deep seated and so deep rooted, you need more than just in the mind of saying, let it go. You may need some professional help. You may need to seek counseling. You may need to put yourself around some other people who went through the same things you went through. Um, and it ain't gonna happen overnight.
Yeah.
So we have to tap into the ideas that we may have to do something outside of who we are. And
Yeah.
that starts with our own personal development. And I'm so big about personal development. I'm so big about growing as a person, because when you become the best version of yourself, anything is possible. So the first step is, in every area of life and everything you got going on, become the best version of yourself. How do you do that? Well, who do you associate with?
Mm.
What do you read? What do you listen to? What do you watch? When you ask yourself those questions and you truly evaluate those things, are those things pushing you forward, keeping you stagnated, or, or are they pulling you backwards? And we know what the answer should be.
Mhm.
And if the answer is not moving me forward, you're going to have to change. You have to change. And there's no way around it. I was talking to a
Mhm.
young lady the other night. I say, okay, so here's the results that you're getting, and here's what you're doing. And she's so comfortable at doing these things, and she's so uncomfortable getting outside of those things. I told her, I said, well, if you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results.
Mhm.
So you got to get uncomfortable. You got to get outside of those things. You got to find new avenues that you've never been down before if you truly want change. If you
Mhm.
truly want a different result, if you truly want to be successful in those areas of your life. Because if you don't, you're just talking. You
Mhm.
just want somebody to feel sorry for you. And I'm not the person to do that. No longer, not anymore,
Not anymore.
not
When
anymore.
you know better, you do better.
You know better, you do better.
You
Yes.
know, when I was over at TikTok, I would read this scripture to the young people, and I just accidentally came across it. Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity. That's Timothy 4:12.
Hmm.
That right there, Ricky, when you were talking, I thought about that scripture. And then I looked over here at another question that I got off of your page. You are the determining factor. Please
You are.
elaborate.
You are. All of the results of your life is based off of you, what you do. Now, the results prior to right now, prior to this moment, you've allowed someone else to be the determining factor in your life. You've allowed situations and circumstances to dictate, because you probably didn't understand truly that you are it. You're him. You're her. You're the only person that's going to get you to where you want to go. Now, you need others to help you along,
Yeah.
but it's one person going to get you there. Nobody can get you into heaven, and nobody can get
Right.
you out of heaven.
Right.
It's you. It doesn't matter what other people do. It doesn't matter what other people say. It doesn't matter what other people feel about you. What really matters is you. And it doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you desire, what you need, or it doesn't matter what you think you deserve. The only thing that matters is what you actually do.
do.
your foot to the pavement, your steps forward is the only thing going to lead you to the results that you want, or it's going to lead you to the results that you don't want. But it's all going to come back to which direction were you walking,
Right.
and that's where you're going to end up.
And
Well, how
that's
did
what
I get
we
here?
do.
How did I get here? You you walked that way. You drove. You whatever vehicle it was, you were on this. You had the steering wheel. You
Yeah.
were driving.
Yes.
You were
It,
driving.
mm-mm. And people
And
don't.
some people think that they're in the back seat
Right.
and they're a passenger. They think they are a passenger. You're not a passenger in your life. You're the driver. You're the captain of your ship. And when you understand that you are the captain, when you understand that you are driving, you get to go wherever you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
You get to turn the steering wheel. You get to hit the blinker and go left or go right.
The
The
sky's the
world
limit.
doesn't the world doesn't care where you go because
Mm-hmm.
every other person is driving their own vehicle.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Well, then you're making me go down to this next. I didn't let my effort rise above the excuses.
Yes. So, and I got this from a friend of mine, a mentor. He used to mentor me before. He said, "Let your efforts rise above your excuses." See, there's so many excuses that come into play, come into our heads that formulated, over years or even right in the moment, excuses pop up. There's always a level of effort that will get you above that excuse. There's always something you can do. Now, it might not be real obvious, but that means you got to dig to figure out what level of effort do I need to put to get over the excuse that I have for not being where I want to be or not achieving what I want to achieve. There's a level that every single one of us can do for every single problem that'll get us over that problem. Now, you might have to climb over it. You might have to go around it. You might have to dig under, or you might have to bust through the very center of that thing, that excuse that you're making. And sometimes that effort is a 1 or a 2, and that's easy to get over. But sometimes it's a 9 or a 10. And we got to bear down and we got to really get after it to get over that excuse. Because, like I said again, I don't want to make light of anybody's circumstance or situation because there's some really tough stuff that is holding people back. But you're gonna have to get through it. You're gonna have to fight. And sometimes, that battle creates even more of a problem. But on the opposite side of not fighting is succumbing to those circumstances and you just buy the excuse and you live out the rest of your life not achieving and not fulfilling your potential. I can't do that. Not anymore, not any longer.
That's what I was going to ask. Were you always this passionate and were you always in the right direction, or what changed the
Well,
trajectory of
I'm gonna
your
tell
life?
you, I'm gonna tell you this. I've always had something. People have always told me, and to this day, people say you're different. It's something about you, something. But it was a yo-yo. It was a yo-yo effect of I'll be very passionate and determined and driven to succeed and do all these things ever since I was really young. But then I go through these phases to where, and it had to do with my environment. That's the excuse. I started trying to. I wanted to fit in and be like everybody else, so I stopped pushing. And this happened periodically over my whole life. I stopped pushing and thriving and going after things that I really wanted and knew I could have and achieve if I worked real hard because other people around me wasn't. And so I was so torn because I wasn't consistent. And that's another key word, consistency.
Consistency.
Once you figure
Mhm.
out what it is that's going to help you and take you to where you got to go, you got to be consistent. And that's something I struggle with. But that roller coaster, those ups and those downs, those ebbs and those flows, has gotten so much smaller for me now. It used to be big old loops. It used to be
Okay.
huge. But now I got it down here. And I'm trying to straighten it out even more, because the more I straighten those ups and downs out, the better results of my life. And that's something that everyone should be trying to do, is trying to eliminate those highs and lows and just get a steady flow of growth
Mm.
in your life.
Are you affected by your students? Is that maybe a reason that you can kind of level off because you're teaching them?
That is absolutely correct. So years ago, I was asked, you know, Coach Lewis, what do you want to teach? And I said, I want to teach success. What do you mean? I said, I want to teach students how to be successful, because we were doing really well academically. The students in my classes, students in the school. But what I was seeing, that the students were not really succeeding 5 years, 10 years after they left school. So I'm like, we got to teach them how to be successful, not just academically.
Mm-hmm.
So I started teaching students personal development. It's called Skills for Success. I started teaching them the things that I knew at the time when I first started. And as I'm teaching, I'm also learning. And as I'm learning, once you start learning, man, you wake up. And
Yeah.
so the more I was learning, the more I wanted to learn. And the more I wanted to learn, it just kept going. And so it really helped me. I absolutely love teaching this class, but because it keeps me plugged into a system. And that system is the self-directed education. That system is the growth and development. That system is reading, listening, associating with all the right things that help you. So we have to get plugged in. And part of my plug in is those students. And I can't teach without walking the same walk. We go
Right.
back to we go back to generational turnaround. A lot of parents, a lot of adults want their children's lives to be better than theirs, and don't
Mm.
want them to make the same mistakes, and don't want them to, go down the path that they went. Well, one thing that I emphasize is that I have to succeed. I have to set goals. I have to be driven. I have to have the passion if I want them to have it, because this generation don't want to hear what you're saying. They want to see what you're doing. So, you know, your actions speak so loudly, I can't hear what you're saying. It's by your actions. And I use this example all the time. I walk in the house and my sons keep putting their shoes in the middle of the floor in the living room. I'm like, telling them, take your shoes off at the door, or put your shoes in your room, or like stop leaving your shoes all over the living room. And they wouldn't listening. They kept doing it over and over again. I was like, what? And then I noticed myself. I'm tired. I come home, I sit on the couch, I flip my shoes off. Wait a minute. Hold on now. I'm telling them to do something that I ain't doing.
And you,
So without me telling them anymore, I stopped doing that. And all of a sudden, they start duplicating or replicating my actions. So
yeah,
now I'm on this quest of, yeah, I want my sons to be successful, but guess what? They got to see me be successful.
there
You
you
know,
go.
my first book was written because, well, one, I've always wanted to write a book. I wanted to write, but I wanted to hand that book to my sons and say, "This is the book your father has written." And when they see me doing things, now they know that they can.
Yes.
So And I think back, I don't know if your audience knows, I was a professional athlete, professional baseball player. When I was young, my father was a professional basketball player. My father was drafted into the NBA, played for the Seattle Supersonics 1976.
Oh,
Drafted out
wow.
of drafted out of Alcorn State University. So, because I saw my father reach the highest level in sport, well, I didn't see him. Take that back. I didn't see him. Because I knew my father played at the highest level in sport, I knew I could do that. It had nothing to do with my talent. It had nothing to do with my size, my strength, my physical ability. It had everything to do with my belief system and my mindset that my father did it, so I can do it. So when we have somebody to look to, when we have somebody that we are following, somebody is a pattern to us, we can follow their pattern, we can follow their footsteps. If you're going to sit back, eat Doritos, honey buns, drink Red Bulls and Monsters, and do all these unhealthy things, but you're telling your kids not to do that because it's unhealthy, they're going to eat those honey buns. They're going to drink those energy drinks. They're going to do all of that stuff regardless of what you say. That's the reason why smokers, people who smoke cigarettes and stuff their whole life, end up with kids who smoke cigarettes. That's why doctors, kids become doctors. That's why lawyers, kids become lawyers. That's why retail shop employees, kids become retail shop employees. Not because the kid couldn't do more or wanted, like, it's like you're going to do what you see. You're
Right.
going to replicate and duplicate the things that you know. And the problem is, some of us, some young people, don't have the role models
Mm-hmm.
that they can follow and watch and be mentored by, so that they can become something more than the generation before them. So they have to find them.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go and seek out people who do what it
Mm-hmm.
is you want to do. You
Mm-hmm.
got to learn from them. You know, your uncle, your broke uncle can't teach you how to be rich. He can't show you. Like he can't help you when it comes to financial intelligence if he doesn't have any financial intelligence, regardless of what he says, because if he's telling you what to do, but he's not doing it, you're not going to believe it and you're not going to follow.
That's right.
Nobody follows people who don't have fruit on the tree. Find somebody with fruit on the tree.
Well, let me ask you about Prescott then, one of your
Okay.
star students.
Yes.
Please tell me
So
about the finance.
yeah, so I'm super excited about this young man. He's 26 years old. Prescott was in my class his senior year, and he gravitated towards the information. We were teaching personal development, financial planning. We started talking financial intelligence and all the things that you can do, all the things that's possible, and a light went off in his head, and he just is taking it and ran with it. He's doing super well right now. And I mean, he's a philanthropist. Like, he started so many different programs, giving back to the community. He's
Did
I want to
did
say he's not the typical
mm,
student that I have, but
okay.
he's doing so well. And when you can show the next generation that there are people doing these
Hmm.
things, it can happen, it can go. So
And
I'm I'm
what about his father, his parents? How
well,
was that?
well the and he has two successful parents,
Okay.
but his parents were basically teaching him the traditional: go to school, make good grades, get a good job, and that ain't working out today. That's not working out.
No.
The academics, getting a good job, there's whole industries that are disappearing now. So when Prescott got in my class, he started learning some different ways to become successful. That was not necessarily the same ways that his parents were teaching and hoping him to go to. And he went to his parents and talked about the things that he was learning in my class, and his parents agreed, and his parents got on board and said, run with it. And today he's doing extremely well. He has over $1 million in assets right now at 26 years old. And he's not stopping. When he was in my classroom, we made dream boards, vision boards, and he put on his dream board that he wanted to be on the Bigger Pockets podcast, which is this, nationally syndicated podcast, one of the big ones in real estate. And he was on episode, I think, 33. 5 years later, it came true, and millions of people have seen that episode. I think it's called Real Estate Rookie. It's one of my favorite ones, and I show it to my students every year. Like, check out Prescott. He sat in this seat like you did. He got the same information like you're getting. The difference is, are you going to apply it in your life?
That's the difference.
Because their information is not the key to success. It's the application of information. That's wisdom. So
Mhm.
there's no difference between a man who can't read and a man who doesn't read. We have to actually do something. Now we going back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what you think, what you want, what you think you deserve. None of that matters. What really matters is what you actually do. Your feet to the pavement. What are you doing? Your action steps. That's going to lead you to your results. So if you don't have the right action steps, the results are not what you want, you're going to have to find them. You're going to have to figure out. You don't know what you don't know, but you got to figure out what you don't know.
Well, okay, Rickey. Now you and Prescott, I watched you on a video, and
Yes,
you were teaching your students financial literacy.
yes.
He's the founder of Impact Your Youth.
Impact our youth. Yes.
Yes. Okay. You said that you love teaching financial principles. What did you mean by that?
Well, so my entire life, um, I was never taught anything about finance. I was never taught financial literacy. And the reason, because the parents in my life couldn't teach me because they didn't have it.
Hmm.
And so when I finally really started learning financial principles and applying them in my life and getting the result, like the light goes off. And so now I love teaching it to kids because that's the one thing that's gonna almost automatically make a light bulb go off in their head. We teach a lot of different things, but when you start teaching young people how to make money, when you start teaching young people how to increase money, when you start teaching young people how to create passive income, residual income, where you don't have to trade your time for the money, oh, they get
Hmm.
excited.
I
I have
see.
about, man, I have 5 or 6 students that I've taught right now that have gumball machines, where all they do is once a week fill it up and go collect money.
Hmm.
So they're making money while they're asleep. They're making money where they're not there. 93% of Americans trade time for money. That's
Hmm.
one way to earn an income. That is not the only way to earn an income. There are actually easier ways to earn money than trading time for it. And I do it. I just dropped I'm sorry, not dropped. I just finished my second book. My first book was published 4 years ago, and I'm still making money off the first book. And I wrote it 4 years ago.
And that's creating the shift, right? Creating
Yes.
a
The,
shift.
no, that's the shelf. That's the self-directed shift. That's the first one. The
Oh,
second one
okay.
is the second one is called creating the shift.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what you're doing now.
That's now. That's about to drop this summer. Yes.
Okay, okay. Well, I know that you had so many people that were interested in that and bought the first book. Tell
Yes.
me, wasn't the Valley State
Yes.
that where you
So
went to college?
yes, I went to Mississippi Valley State University out of high school. And when I published my book, you know, someone inside of Mississippi Valley State ran across the book and was like, "Oh my goodness, this is powerful. This is good. This is what our kids need." So, what Mississippi Valley State did was they made my book a course requirement for all freshmen on campus. And that was huge. That was huge. But even bigger than that was the impact I was able to make on some of their lives. There was a young lady who, after I had talked to her, and after she had read the book, she ended up leaving college and got home and picked up that book and started going back through it. And she said, she sent the message, that book was the reason why she got back in. And that young lady got back in and finished her degree and moved on with her life. You know, I went up and spoke to that group of freshmen that year, and it was one of the most powerful things that to me that I've done, because I was able to go back to my roots, go back to my university, because I remember what it's like being a freshman, and I remember being lost. I remember, struggling mentally, um, trying to deal with becoming an adult and making the right decisions in my life, and so when I went back and I saw all those young people, it reminded me of me, and I was like, how can I be of service to them? What did I need when I was their age? And that's kind of my life right now. Everything I do, I think about what would I have wanted or needed to help me be successful. And that's what I try to give to people right now. Not just my students, but everybody I run across. What do they need? How can I provide that?
Yes,
And
I know what you mean, Ricky. I'm 67 and I'm still asking that
mm,
question. What
right,
is it that I can do that still will make a difference in someone's life, and mostly young people?
right.
So I'm I'm gonna ask, will you tell the viewing audience what you're going to talk about at the GT Summit that they should come and hear more? Are we talking about it now, or
A,
I
a
leave
little
it?
bit, a little bit. It's gonna be really about asking yourself the right questions, finding what's inside of you, and being able to bring that out so that you can be the best version of yourself. I've been teaching and dealing with young people for over 20 something years. I've seen the successful ones, I've seen not so successful, and they all carry the same traits. They all have the same nuances. Um, if looking back, I can see where all the students who became successful, whether they were making A's, B's, C's, whatever, they all had some of they all live by certain principles, and the ones who weren't, they live by certain principles. They're lumped together, and I didn't. It wasn't as evident years ago as it is now. Like, I can almost see exactly what's going to happen in your life if I can talk to you for 5 or 10 minutes. Like I have a personal conversation with you, and that's what I want to do. I want to get personal. I want to have a personal conversation um, with people because for some reason I can see it now. I can see success, whether it's in you or you're just missing the boat. I can see it. And when you have someone who can see it, when you have someone who can kind of evaluate what's going on, what then they can steer you in the right direction, because you may think you're going in the right direction and you're really not, and you're not going to see and know that you've been on the wrong path until oftentimes it's too late. It's never too late, but
Yeah.
you've you've gone so far down the wrong path. It's going to take so much more to get it turned around. But how can we turn it around now? Generational turnaround. How can we start that process now?
Well, for me, when I was growing, we had the village elders
Hmm.
that we respected and that we would go to because they had that wisdom that
Yes.
was not ordinarily.
Right.
They had experience that thing. And they could look, like you were saying, they would look at us and they would see
Hmm.
what we weren't even saying. They would, they know.
So I have a chapter. I have a chapter in my new book, Creating a Shift, called "It Takes a Village,"
Mm,
and I tap into that resource of the village.
hmm.
We have to understand that if you don't listen to anyone, you're gonna fail.
That's right.
If you listen to everyone, you're gonna fail.
That's right.
You have to find the right village. You got to
Hmm.
find your village, and your village is out there.
It
But if
is.
you're not looking, if you're not looking, you're not going to find them. Seekers are finders.
Hmm.
Remember that. If you are looking for something, you will find it. If you are not looking, it's never going to come into your presence. Things are not just going to fall into your lap. Success is not going to just fall into your lap. It might be a little short-term success, but it's going to be fleeting. It's going to leave you just as quick as it came. But when you are actually actively engaged in looking for the things that you need to make your life better, when you are actively looking for a mentor, you're going to find the right one. But don't listen to everybody. You got to listen to somebody. And the somebody that you listen to has to have fruit on their tree. Excuse me.
You said the words, let's promote positivity. Give these kids some hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we living in a time where hope is fleeting.
Hmm.
Like you have kids, it's amazing how you have young people, not just young people, you have old people or
Yeah.
aged people or seasoned people, however we want to
Hmm.
say it. I don't want to say old
Hmm.
like it's derogatory,
Hmm.
but you have people who have no hope. They just feel like there's nothing they can do. This
Why
is the way the,
bother?
this is the way the ball bounces. This is the way the cookie
Hmm.
crumbles. I'm stuck. That's just the way it is. I heard that. The crazy part is I was told that when I was
Hmm.
young. Like that's just the way it is.
Hmm.
The way the ball bounces. Like we were. Unfortunately, you was born into this particular set of situations and circumstances, and that's the cards life dealt you. But I'll throw them cards back in. I'm gonna
There
get
you
me a
go.
I'm gonna get me a new hand.
Gotta
You know,
know when to.
I'm not even gonna play them. I'm gonna give me a new hand. Bring another deck. Let me
Yeah.
pick my, let me you know what? Let me pick my own cards.
Right.
You
Right.
know, I'm gonna
And
pick my
young
own
people,
cards.
I want to, okay, I'm hoping and praying that the young people and their parents come together to
Yeah,
this summit. I,
I got something for all of them.
yeah.
And the reason why is because that's what it takes.
Hmm.
It takes. I
Yeah.
I gotta pour into the head and pour into the tail. I gotta pour into the mama, the daddy, the daughter, the brother, the cousin, the sister, everybody. Because it
Everybody.
takes the village, it takes everybody
Hmm.
being on the same page.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
me and you, if me and you are in a boat together and we got paddles, you paddling one way and I'm paddling the other, we're gonna just go in circles
That's right.
until we get on the same page and we paddling with a purpose.
Hmm.
We're
Paddling
not
with
gonna go.
purpose.
We're not gonna go where we want to go.
No, we're
We're gonna be
not.
looking crazy. Like, why are we going in circles?
That's right.
Like,
You-
everybody got to be on the same page. And today, there's, unfortunately, in education, we're trying to educate these young people, and sometimes the parents are not on the same page with the school, with the teachers, with the kids themselves, and
Mhm.
it's causing the problems with the kids. It's
Mhm.
at the detriment of the students. So a lot of times in parent conferences and stuff, man, I'm pouring into the parents more than talking about what's going on with the student. Like,
Right.
I need you to understand, in order for him to be successful or for her to be successful, here are things that you are going to have to do.
Mhm.
Here's things that here's your homework. Here's something that you as a parent, because unfortunately, of course there was never a guidebook. There was never any, you know, instructions on parenting. And if you didn't have parents who did things right to you, you're gonna do the same thing that
Right.
was taught to you to yours. And it's there we go, the circle, and
That's
we create a generational turnaround. Like
and
we,
and we can do that. We
yes,
can do that. And I was watching another clip on your page.
you've been stalking me.
Yes, I was. I did. I went up and down and back
Yes,
again.
yes,
And I saw your sons and some of his their friends, and
yes,
I think they were trying to put him in the pool,
yes,
and they were
yes.
horse playing.
Right, right,
And you were saying that is not done anymore.
right,
They we got so many young people who is so serious about whatever the situation is that they take it to the limit. But to
right,
see these young people just playing.
right. And
And,
you okay, so you got to be focused.
mm,
But at some point, if you don't ease up,
mm,
if you don't relax, you're going to break. If
right.
you don't if you don't take the time to restore your energy, and that's through
Mhm.
whether it be meditation, whether it be uh just vacationing, whatever it is, like at some points in our lives, we have to get back to just enjoying who we are, enjoying life, enjoying
Mhm.
our company, our surroundings, because that makes you feel human. Because success is work. It is work. But if
Mhm.
you only are driven to make money or to be
Mhm.
successful and rise to the top of your company, like, it's going to be a miserable life. See, the the one and only thing that every human desires, it's not success, it's not money, it's not materialism, it's not fame. The one thing that every human person desires is to be happy.
That's right.
There isn't a human being on this planet that doesn't want to be happy. Now, you got some people who like to act and pretend like they're angry and they upset all the time. Like, but everybody wants to be happy. Everybody seeks happiness. So when you seek that, it makes the work and the drive and everything else easier. It makes life better. It makes going out and working, 8 to 10 hours every day, or reading these books and doing all these things to be successful. It makes that road easier to go through when you take time to find your happiness. And sometimes finding your happiness is about making other people happy, because happiness is like a boomerang. When you throw it out there in the world, when you try to make other people happy, it comes back and it makes you happy. It makes me feel good to see people light up and smile. It makes me feel good. It's almost a selfish thing. Like if I'm down, if I'm not feeling well, I'm gonna see how many people I can make feel good. And then all of a sudden, when I see that smile like you got, Judy, when I see that smile, I light up. When I can make you smile, I don't care what I'm going through, I'm gonna smile and I'm gonna forget all the problems and stuff I'm going through. You can you hear me? I think I can't hear your volume. Your volume?
I said that's a dominoes effect.
Right.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, Ricky, tell everybody within the sound of our voices how they can get in touch with you and what leave them with some of your wisdom that we're going to get more of September the 6th and the 7th at the 8th GT Summit.
Okay. So first of all, um, go to my website, www.rickeylewisjr.com. That's RickeyLewisJr.com. Go to my website and get The Self-Directed Shift. That's my first book. Also, in a couple weeks, my second book will be up. You can get that book, and that's an outstanding read as well. And that one is directed towards young people, and there's a lot of action steps in there. At the end of every chapter, there is something for you to actually do that's going to push you forward. It's the part we were talking about earlier. What do I do? So when you get this
Mhm.
information, it's going to ask you questions, and you're going to have to answer them. And there's going to be things that you're going to have to write down. And if you do them, you'll get to where you want to go. You can email me at Rickey Lewis Jr. I'm sorry. You can email me at Rickey Lewis at yahoo.com, or rlewis at pc.k12.ms.us. You can always hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, The Self-Directed Shift, TikTok, inbox me, start a dialogue. We'll exchange some more information, better ways for us to get in contact. If there's anything I'm all about duty and service. If there's anything I can do to help you, I'm going to do it. So that's if you just reach out, I promise you'll find a friend. If you reach out. So basically, what I want to leave you with is there's so much more you can be. There's a version of you inside of you right now that all you got to do is tap into the right resources, and that person is going to come out. And the results of your life, regardless of what it is you want, you will get, depending on the amount of effort you put towards getting it. And I want to help you become the best version of yourself. Some people call me coach. I used to coach football, baseball, basketball. Some people still call me coach. Some of my students call me coach. When I got on my journey of really teaching and educating on personal development and life, they started calling me a life coach. I don't want to be your life coach. I want to teach you how to be your own life coach.
Yes. You couldn't say it any better than that, Rickey, because there are people out here who want to be people's life coach, but you said it right there. People want to need to be able to step up and be their own. And when you come to Gulfport, Mississippi, and meet Rickey Lewis, my keynote speaker, you just got a little sample of what it's going to be like. We are coming with tried and true solutions,
Yes.
things that Rickey has done that has made a difference in a young person's life, an older person's life, everybody's life. And so there's going to be 16 speakers that are going to be with us, and they're going to touch every spectrum. One of them will be a spectrum that you need to talk about. So I pray that today has been better than yesterday, but it's not as good as tomorrow. I pray that tomorrow will bring forth a double portion of blessings in the form of, guess what? Opportunities that you never saw coming. Good night. Thank you, Rickey. Thank you
Thank
for
you for having
being my guest.
Thank you
And
for having me.
thank you. And I'm going to see how I can get us out of here, Rickey. Everybody already know what I go through when I'm trying to get us out of here, but that's okay. Watch this. Thank you. Good night.